Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies, for joining this discussion session on the H1 quarter two results for 2023. I'll introduce the team from the executive management around the table here, and then we'll kickstart the session for the briefing, and then we'll have a final session on the Q&A, accommodating any queries or questions from the audience. On my left-hand side, if you can see the screen, is our newly appointed CEO, Mr. Yaping. Mr. Yaping is a well-versed Chinese cement industry practitioner and a leader who have been more than 30 years in experience and has been living the industries inside out. His background is an engineer, and he will be opening the meeting for the discussion subsequently if there is anything on the technical and the discussion on the partnership. Mr. Yaping, to welcome the team.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the session.
Gentlemen, audience, hopefully you can see the screen. So the session to cover the performance of the company over the 6 months ended 30th of June 2023. And moving to the next slide, the disclaimer is mainly as coming up on the regular presentations to have your own due diligence and deep down check and balances. If you need further scrutinies and details, we are available to answer, to attend, and whatever we have published is available for market to refer to. Concretely, Oman Cement is a leader in the cement industries with concrete values, clicking the 4th decade in experience, and giving that non-disruptive, continuous green performance over years. Unlike other peers, it gives a comfort that we are the leader in the country to comfort and deliver further contribution to the development of the nation by putting the brand and the quality not compromised, having a self-corporate citizenship honor side on the environment once it comes to the due care, and definitely not just being customer-centric, but stakeholder-centric, focusing on all our community, people, employees, the shareholders, and the interested investors and the communities alike. And we are having the thought to build the community across Oman and wherever our footprint reach, capitalizing on the strength to contribute towards the Vision 2040 development pillar on putting a very substantiated, solid base for the construction industry to spring off. In our discussion today, we'll have a quick run for new investors on what is OCC and where are we moving for the coming partnership, in view of the developments and the acquisition that has been taken place over the Q2, concluded over Q2 of 2023. And then we'll give further highlights on the performance of H1, and we leave it later on for the Q&A session before we conclude. Oman Cement has been established in 1978. Was started with a single line initially built on German technologies line, and subsequently expanded from the 1990 ends with another line based on Japanese origin, and then added a third expansion line towards the 2011 to develop a capacity at that stage to 8,000, and enhancing this 8,000 to somewhere around 9,000 metric ton of clinker production towards the 2014-15 end. The fortunate circumstances with the new partner, the strategic alliance that the government has put in place, has immediately contributed results of recognition. Wherever you see the results on the clinker now, we are putting the figures as 10,000 ton per day, which is with a very immediate step on the floor of the professional partners, Huashin. The team here including Mr. Yapping, and heading the technical team, they immediately, with the small investments, tweak the efficiencies of the plant to deliver 10,000 with no significant size of capex inputted there. So we are referring to this 10,000 metric ton enhanced capacity within the period from April to June itself. And thanks for Yapping and the team for delivering such amazing results on the clinker production, which is clinker is one bottleneck for cement industry and is very demanded even in the country to create these sufficiencies. Share capital has not been changed on the numbers, and the market share comforted in the Omani domestic parameters. We are between the 30 to 35. If in the upside, if we go upon the nominal nameplate capacity with a full swing, we could reach somewhere around the 40 with these additional clinker capacities made, and then further investment that we can deliver. On the strategic partnership, Huashin has taken over the stake from Oman Investment Authority, the government per se, and Huashin has been appointed based on their multi-years of experience. We'll come to that on subsequent slide. So we'll give flavor to the investors and the audience. We are focusing, our business is mainly using the fuel for creating the energies to use it in the kilns and in the process in order to produce the clinker and the cement. We have one dimension which we are focusing on rightly is the main creating these alternative fuels, the green to go, the life to move with, and also the target to deliver. Our kind of bandwidth, once it comes to the nationalization program and the commitment and the ICV content, we are in the range of 75.6%. The industry keeping it at requirement of 35%, so we are still keeping the commitment to the nation. On the process, just the illustrative being quite put on the bottom left quadrant. On the top right-hand side, you will find our strategic green initiatives, and the strategic green initiatives we have already put on ground a solar power project and system which is supporting the admin buildings, and that is one of those initiatives on the start point of the roadmap. Subsequently, last year we have gone into the use of those waste and tires which are indisposable in Oman, unless you are using specific parameters and tick of the box. The cement industry is a very nice furnace for waste management, and this has been in a partnership with BIA, our charter, to continue to partner to co-create value to deliver wherever possible to the best of the well-being of the stakeholders, among which the community, the people, the government, and the country. So the tire ship is delivering a substitute for the natural gas, and we are moving with a specific forward thinking and commitment. There are projects now under the study on our strategic roadmap, among which the RDF, we have signed the MOU with BIA on the feasibility studies, and moving further, once the update on the anchorage happens, we will bring this to the market as well. But this is one unprecedented practice in the country, with the support from BIA and the expertise from Huashin with their advanced stage in this discipline. To continue, so with Huashin being quite long leap in this place, there is a fittest approach to come to deliver such project. We will communicate further as we move on with the progress, right, with the different stakeholders and the authorities. On the products, the regular products that we are producing, oil well cement, is now of a catchment for other interest areas across the globe. And with Huashin also, we are now touching with the market for potential upside. as this product is a very sizable margin once it comes to increasing the profitabilities and the contribution to the bottom line. The other products are well in demand, and we are trying to create sufficiency to the demand that has not been faded. Yes, on the R&Ds, the research and developments, there are some products which we are under the development. We cannot just give it a full disclosure till it's just materialized, and we'll give it to the market as we go. Now, speaking about the strategic alliance, the strategic partnership, and why Oman Investment Authority brought Huwashin in, and subsequently highlighting on the attachment of the change once it comes to the board and the management, we are bringing it to the coming three slides. So Huwashin, through its wholly owned subsidiary called Abra Holding Limited, registered in Mauritius, has acquired the share from Oman Investment Authority with effective date of 5th of April, and that is taking almost 59%, 59.58% of equity share. Clicking that they are replacing a major control, they will be also, or they have been required to do a compliance with the guidelines of CMA to offer to the minorities mandatory tender offer, which has been concluded around last month, July. Subsequent update to the shareholding of Huwashin would be disclosed to the market in our communication this coming quarter. However, as of June end, the percentage of shareholding stands as presented in this slide. Huwashin owning the almost 60%, the civil service pension funds and public authority social insurance pension fund and the Ministry of Defense pension fund collectively owning another 21.3%. The remaining figures or 19% is afloat in the market, and if anyone interested to reach a sizable stake, we can discuss with the market to see how we can offer to facilitate. Introducing Huwashin to the investors, to the market, and to the audience. I assume you can see whatever the key focus on their pillars of the values. They did, first of all, they don't compromise on the safety. Safety comes as a first parameter, and they are totally focused on the one driver of the customer's best interest, wherever it is. And definitely, they are output driven with the results to be the earmark. Integrity is never compromised. Sustainability is the continuous quest, and people is the never fading on the radar to be developed, because there is nothing like human capital can deliver values. Huwashin in histories, if I speak about the number of years, may some of you get a bit surprised. This almost like 116 years old conglomerate, founded in 1907, and known as the cradle of the known as the cradle of the Chinese cement industry themselves. And they, in 1993, Huwashin became the first listed company in the Chinese building material industry in the Shanghai Stock Exchange. Also, Huwashin total asset amounted to almost $6 billion and employs around 17,000 employees. These figures would be reflected, updated subsequently, because there is further acquisition happened after Oman Cement. With 11 plants outside China, in Tajikistan, creating sufficiency for a country which was in total gap on the supply to demand, Huwashin has made it a right story to tell. And moving to radiate to the Central Asia countries, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Nepal, Cambodia, Tanzania, moving to Africa, Zambia, Malawi, and currently we are speaking about Oman, presenting the fact that Huwashin is the strategic partner, leading the overseas expansion of the Chinese cement industry on a full-fledged to cover whatever they can cover and add value that what they can do to the place that they invest in. Huwashin, one part of it also, they are having a strategic partner who is under Huwashin called Holcim. Holcim is holding 42%. Holcim is the Lafarge Holcim initial partner whenever they invested and came into a good sizable near to control stake in Huashin, and this is we call it multinational group rather than Chinese group, where this is how the collective collaborative approach of the contribution between the East and the West comes through the tunnel to the Middle East. Huashin also considered in the top 500 biggest industrial enterprises in China, and globally they are among the top 10 global cement companies in the world. If you go back to the 2007, their whole total capacity in China was around 3.4 million metric ton, similar to Oman cement of 2015, and they've grown rapidly over the last speak about 15 years. As of 2022, they have reached 118 million metric ton of cement production to that year, and this is there is addition to it once we get to the slides updated. Business overview for Huashin. Huashin, of the 116 years being listed in Shanghai, moving as well also to Hong Kong Stock Exchange on the last year. They are, as we highlight, they are conglomerate of multi-dimensions assets and investment and focus on industries. They are into the environmental service wherever they are developing eco-business that's friendly to facilitate, to develop, to comfort the environment and the well-being of the every creatures on wherever it is supported. Also, they are cement is the heart of this specific story. They are into the equipment engineering and manufacturing, but also they are in the aggregate and the upstreams. And once you go to the downstream of the cement, you will find them in the ready mix and lateral business as well. Huashin by itself, as we spoken, it's in the Chinese, they are almost in the 16 plus 13 other countries out the China. They have almost more than 300 production sites, revenues in dollars around 5 billion. This is as of 2022 end. Employees, we spoken about 17 plus thousand. The annual cement capacity, which we've highlighted around 122, this is would have been now ramped up higher to that, higher than this level. Concreting on the cement and the business and the eco environmental friendly services that they are providing, they are well leading the waste co-processing capacities with around 16 million metric ton of waste management in the year. And if projects also comes in Oman, this numbers will be quite increased, hopefully to produce nice living environment and supporting the government and the stakeholders into a proper waste management in the country. The annual ready mix concrete capacity, they are around the 70 million metric ton, and the aggregate is around 210 million metric ton capacity. This is the plan. This is the map wherever it shows how they have springed off from China to the Central Asia, gone to Africa, and then came to the Middle East, and they have done further acquisitions subsequent to Oman Cement in Africa. We can disclose it subsequently in such interactions. Giving this integration, I would call it integration and acquisition of resources, a professional cadre, and the support once it comes to the technical know-how and the advancement of use of upstream, midstream, and downstream lateral to the cement industry. There have been changes to the board, which has been inducted into Q2. Mr. Lee is now appointed as the chairman of Oman Cement, and he is also the CEO of Huashin, and he is the chief lead advisor in the communist panel to the government once it comes to the industry. So this is the commitment of the Chinese government to such industry, to the commitment to invested in the relation within the country and within Oman Cement. And with the steer, we have the gentleman who is driving the overseas, Mr. Shu, and we have an independent, and also the Mr. Owen. He is the group CFO. We have an independent board member, Mr. Ian Riley. He is the CEO of WCA, World Cement Association. This is how Huashin is putting the pact right, to balance, to have a fair composition. And the existing board member from the three pensions, from civil service pension funds, Ms. Najat, and Mr. Ishaq Al-Ma'wali from the PASI, the Public Social Investment Pension Funds, and from Ministry of Defense, Mr. Abdullah is manning the show on the governance and the steer for the company. Supported by our young lady Afnan Al-Mughiri as a fresh graduate, as a Omani, supporting them effectively to deliver the value through a very updated and well-experienced executive management. Mr. Zhu, I've introduced him briefly upon the opening, and who's the Chief Executive Officer. Along with the Chief Executive Officer, we have Mr. K, who is now handling the General Manager Manufacturing for the Oman Cement. And the rest of the peer, they are the one who are in coexistence even before the integration. We have Dr. Hilal, who is now taking due care of the General Manager Performance, working collectively with Huashin to deliver those values that we have pronounced even on the clinker, and then further initiative that need to be brought in. Mr. Zaid, the General Manager Engineering and Maintenance, supporting the whole technical operation once it comes to the maintenance and engineering. And the rest of the team, we have an American fellow who is supporting on the commercial with the local bodies. And the Omanis are rest, Mr. Ahmed on the IT, Muhammad on the HR and the shared service, Saleh on the procurement, and Ahlam as a new joiner on the risk and compliance to really close the gaps whenever we have some developments required to update our report, and we support in the finance. And overall, in nutshell, in view of time, we are highlighting on the results comparatives that if you look into H1 to H1, you see that H1 2022 were positive on quadrants of the cement sale. If you look into the right-hand side, on the cement sales on the quantitative figures by 1.7 million. If you compare it to this year, by 1.6. However, the best story which we have spoken about is the earmark once it comes to the clinker. The earmark to the clinker, which is the bottleneck, the clinker as of last year is shortfalling, or I would say not matching whatever positively contributed by the Chinese strategic alliance, wherever the clinker has been pushed up to the 10,000 metric ton capacity production and availability around the clock. This has translated, despite the cement being quite sluggishly to the last year comparatives, this has collectively delivered, if I focus on the profit bottom line, a growth into the revenues, a growth into the bottom line of 4,200,000 comparison to the 3,100,000. So a value of 30+% has been growth on the H to H, comparing last period to this period. This is the commitment from the company and the management and the shareholders represented by the board to keep driving and delivering value to whoever on the stake to live the story with us. Going to the perspective of the growth drivers, the momentum and the economists around the globe, they are projecting a positive indicator once it comes to the growth in the country. And they are expecting this will continue even in the trend to come, except around the years of 2023. Sluggishly, they are indicating a bit of slump. But we are living a bit of more or less better story than the projected line here. And going forward, this is sloping into a positive trend, giving that cement industry will be contributing in the range between 9 to 15 sorry, this is a typo mistake. 9 to 15% of the share of the GDP contributed through the construction ecosystem supported by the cement industry's players and manufacturers. The story can tell short how the market analysis could be quite looked at once it comes to the price and the performance of the share. The trend, if you get to see Oman cement share, is on the green side, started the year and beating the MSX index and trying to catch up on the industry index. Whenever we come to the mid of the May side, we have that kind of overlapping and superseding. Hopefully, this story will continue to sustain this kind of positive leading indicator on the share price to the investors, to the audience, to the analysts. This is Oman Cement performance, and this is Oman Cement Pact. This is how we will continue to deliver. If you have any question, we leave the floor to be open for the audience and the gentleman around and the young ladies here. Thank you.
Yes, I have a few points.
Yes, please. But can you please first introduce yourself?
Yes. So, yeah, my name is Nikhil Tanna, and I'm working with the Financial Corporation Honest FinCorp as a research analyst. And yeah, I have a management degree in finance specialization. So I have several points. Like I have seen that there is around 1% contribution from export in total sales. After partnership with Huxin, is there any expectation to growth of the export percentage contribution in total sales?
If I take this projecting it collectively, yeah, I refer to the concentrated focus on a specific product for the current time, because we want to create first local sufficiency to the short and the supply to the demand in the country. And we are tapping with the international arena for the oil well cement collectively through Huashin, and aggressively, honestly, we have opened different venues of meetings and discussion on potential growth for such a project, such a product. And once things recognized, also will come to highlight it in the subsequent engagement with the market and the investors. But there is a momentum. There is a great move. If this get to be capitalized and delivered, there will be a sizable reflection in the bottom line.
Thank you. And a few other points are that which one is the top product which contributed in sales?
So this is the OPC side, still telling the story jointly with another blended cement, which we call it Al Burj. So the OPC is the ordinary Portland cement, is the major contributor for the split of the project percentage.
Thank you. And just the last point from my side is several GCC countries have started initiative of the grain building, like Saudi Arabia. So, do we have any kind of that particular product which can contribute building this grain building, and this could be helpful in export thing also?
Honestly, there is you may refer to a search in the news. We have signed specific MOU with the specific stakeholders, and we are working aggressively to convert this into a scalable industrial production in order to put it to the market. If this comes to be the right approach, and definitely Huashin would have an arm length to support on this. If this get to convert to an economy of scale and possible to sell, then we will be one of those leaders around the globe, not just in the country. This is work in progress. And Dr. Hilal and Mr. Yapping and the team, they are working collectively on this.
So we'll start with Joyce. Joyce, can you please comment?
Sure. Thank you, Alam, and thank you, gentlemen, for the presentation. I have a few questions. The first one is on, can you give us some color on the current market situation, especially when you're domestic competitor is struggling with their financial performance as well as with their operational performance. So how do we see the market in general? I see that there has been a small uptick in the average realizations during this quarter. So where do we see the average cement prices moving during this year? And how is the demand, especially from the northern side?
Just allow me to bring one slide, mainly just to give you a concrete answer. Yes, market matter is a concern for everyone in the play, but the issue that Oman Cement been quite tactically managing the changes and attending all those macro global effects and even the neighborhood competitions landed to the very nearby borders and the adjacent cross-border players. We are safeguarded by one concept that we are in the centric of the populous areas. This is one part, and in a very proximity and reach to the catchment areas where we have confirmed with the loyal customers of continuous demand and continuous supply from our side, with rapport of balance of contracted volume to a spot wherever this has struck a nice balance of Oman Cement sales strategy. And I'm projecting one slide for the sake of audience, please. So if you see now more or less around 400 projects per year is around the country available ongoing and split between municipal projects, roads and highways, buildings and others in these respective percentage. Our catchment area is presented here. We've seen the demand is in this area, and we are, as if you remember what I've highlighted, our range between 30 to 40% on the market share. So we are covering around 40% of this current market itself. Even with the struggles and the challenge that we have in these areas, we are still really comforting whatever supplies required there to the level best that we have this capacity made available. The good thing about the strategic partner, Huashin, they are coming with a full, thoughtful, properly insight on how to expand, on how to play the growth project right at the right time and deliver value to the shareholders once it comes to optimization and efficiency, even once it comes to this renewable, so an alternative fuel. This is one major commitment that they have put it on the table, and they are never fading. And I like their kind of zeal and feel that they are trying to deliver value. You have recognized it in the clinker, and you will recognize it, inshallah, in the soon future in other projects to come. Any other question?
Yes, Fatih, thank you for that. And how is the price moving, average realizations moving recently? Because we have been through a very stagnated period or depressing period in the past, but recently I'm seeing that there is some uptick. So what's your thoughts on the realization levels, Oman Cement?
See now, we've been thinking about the market would have converted from a buyer market since 2022 into a seller market. But now it's a semi-mixed phase, in a transition phase, wherever there is this kind of proper mutual benefit, wherever both the seller and the customers should be winning. So the agreement to understand each other's requirement and balance this kind of strategy of pricing would strike a right, a right comfort for each player in the market, either being a manufacturer and a producer like ourselves, or even an off-taker or down the stream distributor or user. Our price strategy has not been changed since the start of the year. We maintain this price strategy clearly to all across the buyers. And we are selling with an EX factories principle. So whoever comes, we treat them the same, unless they would have them on their contracted volume. This is in a nutshell the strategy that we keep. Whether we would revise the price, this is a kind of testing the water, but we will not create any discomfort if to the stability in the market. Our commitment is to create sufficiencies, comfort to the industry, be a kind of a partner. Value will be driven and delivered as we go.
Another question that I have is the impact from the Ministry of Transportation decision to limit the weight on truckloads. So how is this impacting primarily yours being a commodity which is being transported very frequently and in large quantities? How do you see this decision, and how is it getting impacted on your financials?
Gentleman Joyce, I like this question. It's very right, fit, and sizing the story. The stories of the figures published to the market and the stories of the summary that we presented here is totally taking this into embracing and hugging and practice. We are never to infringe whatsoever the government put in place of practice. So this is even considering that kind of restriction, because we even applied it here in Oman Cement. We are not doing whatsoever other people could flex it here and there. We are totally complying with the ministerial decree 2/2018 of Ministry of Transport and Telecommunication and Telecommunication. And we, the maximum payload, wherever it is, 45 or 50, as per allowed rule, we are adhering to that. We had many of our, I would call it not direct customer themselves, but their shipper or transporters coming to complain, blah, 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 the time, the waiting, the whatsoever. We have set a clear line of response. This is the due care that Oman Cement take it as a corporate citizen to the investment that the government put in the infrastructure that needs to be durable and sustainable for the long, rather than we hit the multi-investment of billions of dollars in these roads and flyovers getting cracked by overloaded trucks. So we are presenting the figures for, with an effective enforcement and compliance, with no change to the practice that we have here in Oman Cement. Clear,
Thank you,
Joyce.
It's clear, and just to elaborate on that. I know that Oman Cement has been one of the proponents for imposing this restrictions on the maximum payload of trucks, and you got it right now. It has not been implemented strictly earlier, but you got it right now. So my question was more on how is it going to impact your financials in terms of competition and in terms of the easiness with which you might be dealing with the customers. So if you can elaborate it on from that point of view, that would be much appreciated.
See, now we are not sitting static. We are dynamically, once it comes to the tactics, once it get to handle any new customers. The existing customer, they are very comforted and very loyal, because they understand how we service the nation and service themselves and service whoever partner with us. So those people who are looking for a quick win on a small optimized value on the marginal delta reached from the extra volume, and unfortunately impacting the infrastructure, impacting their own kind of oral stand, and then could be quite complicated for compliance issues, fines. We are not looking to such business of a quick win. We have stabilized our comfort of the mix of the customers. We have already put it in place that if such things happens, we will continue before any other people comes to tell us. We lead by example. We deliver the value. We continue to deliver this specific fact. No matter what happens on the other side of the story, not to the internal players, but even the external players coming from the neighborhoods, if the control is there, then that will be an added advantage. It will be an upside that Oman Cement has not reflected here. If I do a sensitivities, then I would definitely see a jump, some relatively on a very conservative line at the 10 to 20%. But if this full set of like conformity charges and the quality control at the border, the payload and others, then there will be a big upside wherever you find Oman Cement results might have jump between 50 to 60%. And that is the still conservative view if such enforcement and containment of rules and application happens to the ground or in the country. And this is how we will wish to respond to your question, Joyce. If there's any question further, we are here. Else, I would leave the floor for others. Afnan?
Can I ask one last question?
Yes, please.
Yes. So can you throw some light on the expansion plans that we had earlier? Earlier we had announced and we reached an advanced stage. So now that the board and the shareholders has changed, is there any change in strategy on that front? And I also see that we have significantly deleveraged our balance sheet compared to previous quarter after the new board has taken over. So now if you can, I was just wondering if it can be connected to the plan of our expansion, maybe going into the freezer. So if you can throw some light on that, that would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah. On the growth per se, on the capacities, Hawashin now is studying all those different alternatives. The deliberation over those projects have taken place in specific instance of the board committees and the board itself. There will be a subsequent move once we are clear about the confirmation on the projects proposed to take the growth at forefront. So we'll be able to give up highlights as we go once we have the final confirmation on the approvals. This is work in progress, and we'll get back to you, inshallah, in the subsequent highlights.
Fine. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you, Joyce. I believe there is one question from Bishan.
Hi, good
Can you please introduce yourself?
afternoon. Thank you for. Yes, sure. This is Bishan Bhalla from Vision Capital. Thank you so much for the presentation and answering our questions patiently. Just a couple of questions for the team. The first one would be with regards to what strategy does Waxin follow with regards to dividend payment? The performance is significantly better this year, and hopefully going forward, the performance would revert back to the pre-COVID levels or when things were fine in the market. So what dividend strategy or dividend policy would the new shareholders envisage for the company going forward?
I will take this, Bishan. We are still to concretely agree on the update to the dividends and the payout policies. In concrete, it depends on the performance of the results and will be deliberated with the board. But Oman Cement, from the management itself to the board, will never fade not to distribute. Definitely will now market is positive post-COVID. Results are driven positively in a positive trend. And we would say, if you see the bottom line growing, you should anticipate a positive correlation between the bottom line and the dividends. So be optimistic. That's how we can say. But eventually, it will be coming closer to a clear line by the next quarters to come, inshallah.
All right, noted. Thank you. The next question is with regards to your sales or your market share, which you mentioned, and also the current state of the other player in the market, Resource. Given how or the challenges that they're facing, in due course, once they pick up operations and they come back on.
Bishan, sorry, Bishan. Bishan, can you hear me?
Yes,
we got a bit. You got a bit choppy in the middle. You said current market. Could you repeat because it was not clear?
Yeah. So my question is that given the state of Reswood Cement, once they get their feet back on track and they resume normal business, do you see any impact on your operations in terms of competition from them, or in general, any short-term gain that you have that might cease to exist?
I believe you are into the business and you understand the fundamentals of supporting the market whenever it needs that support. We are the two major integrated manufacturing cement companies in the country, and we are leading to comfort the supply to demand. We are complementing each other. We are never to compete in the essence in this kind of commercial stance and in the current market. If there is a potential that we collaborate to deliver value, we might bring it. But now, Oman Cement is trying to bridge wherever it is possible to bridge any shortfall from the market players. And Oman Cement will always continue to produce further capacity, inshallah. Raisut, we wish them all the best, and we have faith that they will come with a bit of pickups and to comfort the southern region and to comfort even the northern region and the other regions that they are out of the country. They are an Omani flag, and we wish them all the success. And if there is any support we can extend, we are open. We are always having these peers discussions and collaboration if they resort for a support itself. And Huashin and the team are positive around that also.
Okay, noted. That's it from me, gentlemen. Thank you so much and wish you all the best.
I believe we can conclude today's session.
With that, I will leave our CEO, Mr. Yapping, to conclude unless someone have any question. Mr. Yapping, over to you.
I think that's the first time I attended this kind of a meeting. Thanks to you all to attend the meeting and put your trust on the OCC and put your trust on the new management team.
Thank you, Yapping. Well put, well said, and a commitment from the tip of the pyramid. We are collectively to deliver our pact. All together, we deliver. Our motto: to keep an ongoing servicing the nation, to create comfort in this industry that's never faded for a stress of supply to demand. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, young ladies. Thanks, whoever interested to join and clarify. Still, if you have any clarification or reach requirement, these are our contacts, the investor relations, and going down from the team available. We are around the clock to serve you. Just with a pickup of the phone, you can reach us. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Afnan, I leave it to you to close.
Thank you all for joining today's session, and we look forward to meeting you again in the upcoming session. Thank you so much. Let's end.